Susie Cadoozy, and this is I think it's the 5th or 6th episode of Women Crush Wednesday with Jo Shane, famous artist. She's going to join us soon, and we're going to talk about some art, and she told me she's going to do some funky thing. I don't know. I'm going to just let her. You know how things go wild here. I'm just going to let her. Whoa. Oh, I almost dropped my... Here we go. What's up? Oh, my little light is not working. Allison, what's up? Women Crush Wednesdays. Oh, no, this is getting weird. All right, here we go. I'm here. Okay, Joe, does it say where you can join? If you can't see it, happy Women Crush Wednesday. Joe, if it doesn't say request it there, get out of the app, come back in, it'll say request to join Sue's video. Can you go out of the app and come back in, or you can tap my picture up in the corner, it'll say request to join the video, and it'll say it. Does it say that? This happens every week. But it's okay. It's part of the show. Help me in. All you do, see the little picture of me up there with the sunglasses on? Just tap that. And if not, go out of the app and come back in and it'll say ask to request to be joined in Sue's live thing. Joe, I'm so excited to talk about the art. Come on. Joe's a feminist. She's an artist. She's amazing. What's that? There we go. Here we go, everybody. Jo Shane. She's coming. I just said yes. Did I say yes? Oh, Joe!
Hey, how are you?
Happening?
Nope, I'm trying to do sideways. Is it going to work?
You doing
Okay, it's not what I wanted, but it'll work.
You're sideways. Do you care?
Can you hear me? Well, you're not going to see me draw. Let me move this down.
All right. Oh, I'm so excited. You're going to draw while we're doing the interview?
True. All right, here we go. Now you can see me draw.
Does it matter that you're sideways?
I don't know. Does it matter to you? I guess it's a little off. All right, then you can't.
Yeah, we want to see you draw. I love it. Joe emailed me. She's like, I'm changing all of Instagram. I'm going to draw on there today. We need to shake it up. I go, bring it. We love it here at Women Crush Wednesday. Look how cute you look. Hi.
Can you see me draw or not?
We can't see. Let's see. No, I can't see your easel. Where's your easel?
All right, let me see. Bear with us, people.
This is what we usually do in the beginning of the show. We set up. It's part of the whole intrigue. People get to see behind the scenes. Last week, we had to do it on Amy's Instagram because she couldn't even get on.
I know, but I figured it out. I'm a quick study.
All right.
No, okay, I'm going to the lowest rung. You know what? Let me try this technique.
Come on, you know how to do installations.
I got the ladder here, you know. I got to
get the ladder.
Gotta make it work, boo.
I love it.
You're not gonna see me draw.
Well, maybe you can draw and pull it into the screen.
Yeah,
that would be cool. The reveal.
I'm just gonna talk and draw. It's like that's the only way it's gonna happen.
All right. People, right. I love it because I love the kookier you are, the better on Women Crush Wednesdays. I love it.
We tried.
I love it. Now tell me why you want to draw while we're doing this.
You know what? I tried to set it up before, but it's just not the same. You don't see it the same until you're in there.
All right.
How's that?
Great. But then you can draw and you can bring it into the frame so we can see it.
Yeah.
All right.
So I turned off the sound of my drawing session.
All right.
But I'll tell you what's going on.
Yeah, tell everybody. First of all, just tell everybody quickly, you're an artist. Well, how would you describe your art? What is it? I want to say avant-garde, but it's not avant-garde.
Why isn't it avant-garde?
I think it is. That's what I love it because it's in your face. It talks about so many feminist issues. I love it.
It is what the viewer thinks it is. How about that? Marcel Duchamp said a work of art is never complete until the viewer completes it. And
you need somebody to view it.
Marcel Duchamp is the man.
And you need somebody to view it, otherwise it's not. It's like if a tree falls in the forest. Right? It takes two, baby. It takes two. It's like a dance. I love it. All right. So do you want to tell people a little bit of your background?
I'm a masshole like you.
Yes.
And proud of it.
Yes.
I've been in New York since 75. I started visiting New York when I was a mere slip of a girl at 14. But I came here full time in 75 as a junior in art school. So don't do the math because you don't want to know how old I am.
Yeah, they do because you look amazing.
Well, I lit it right. Thank you.
You look great.
So yeah, I've been here. I came to do the Whitney Museum Independent Studies program. I've seen a lot of different New Yorks in my day. Been here for all the big stuff, the blackouts, the snowstorms, the COVIDs. I haven't missed one
9/11.
of them. I haven't fled. I'm here. I'm like down for the count forever.
You're a total New Yorker, and you go to Montauk all the time and surf. You're amazing.
Thank you.
Right.
So yeah, I'm an artist and my life is dedicated to my work. I taught at School of Visual Arts for 25 years. I'm super engaged in a life drawing practice, which is why I'm divided. One of my two favorite models I work with, one of them is a radical lesbian performance artist, graduate student at Hunter, and she poses in different personae. Well, she's doing Marie Antoinette, and I started doing my best drawings when she did Marie Antoinette the first time, so I couldn't miss it. So then I'm like, well, I hate being interviewed anyways. It's too much pressure. Why don't I just relax and draw?
So you're drawing. So you're watching something right now.
She's talking. I turned her volume up.
Okay.
She talks a lot, so I don't care.
Okay.
But I'm obsessed. Something about the costumes really is inspiring. She was wearing chaps, assless chaps with fringe on Monday, genius drawings, with nothing underneath.
So you drew her in her assless chaps.
Chaps with, and then for a few minutes she had heart-shaped pasties, all black.
Okay, so now I want to ask this because everybody doesn't know all about art. I want to ask this. Okay, so as much as it doesn't become art until the viewer sees it, your interpretation of what is there ever like a total complete like distraction from what you're seeing to what comes out of your painting? I'm always fascinated by that. Like you might see her in assless chaps, but the way that you paint it, is it precise or is it?
First of all, I don't paint. Never say
draw.
never, because I'm sure I will. But I use this charcoal.
Okay.
Winsor and Newton, only the best.
Okay.
It's extra soft vine.
Okay.
And my paper is actually wrapping paper from Home Depot, which I like the texture of. It's nice and square. Okay.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
Like I took it out of a drawing pad.
Okay.
So I set a format for myself. I have a material I like. It's very tactile. I just started adding these incredible Sennelier French pastels, which are to die for.
Okay, so that's interesting. So for the average person, a person who's not an artist, something about pens, like the tactile, the fact that they like to use certain pens, the feel of something is very important. It's part of the whole experience, right?
Yeah, I mean, especially for me, because I'm really a 3D artist. I like to do collage and bricolage, which is three-dimensional collage, and it's about how it's my brain, but it's also my brain connecting to my hands.
All right. So when you say 3D collage, I think of the show that I saw on Madison Avenue where there was stuff actually stuck to the canvas. It's how do you describe it? It's 3D because it's outside. It's not just flat.
Well, yeah, some of it is freestanding, really. Bricolage is more freestanding, but it's like a lot of found objects or a lot of stuff stuck together. It's not like traditional carving or building out of clay. It's about putting things together.
So it's not taking something that's nothing and carving something. It's picking things together and making something. I have a question for you. One of my favorite exhibits I've ever seen was at the Tate Modern in London. And all it was that somebody went around and picked up all the trash in the poor neighborhood and put it on the wall. And it was so profound. What is that called? What would that be called?
That would be called installation art. But what was profound about it for you?
Because you could tell what they ate. You could tell they smoked. You could tell the whole lifestyle just from the trash that they put on the wall. I could tell everything about the neighborhood. And the simplicity of it, I think. The simplicity of taking trash.
Yeah, so That's what you would call a narrative. So they created a narrative of that neighborhood. And I think that, this is what I try to do. I have a wheat paste project where I've been taking down the wheat paste posters on the street for 2 or 3 years. And I mean, hopefully I've applied for public art projects. I'm trying to figure out how to get that to go. But I want to do a public art project where they're inside of a Quonset hut. Now that Quonset hut, it was initially a gallery, and I worked with a collaborator, and he was setting up all these monitors on Netflix, which would create a kind of drop-in as you like community. Then COVID hit. So then I recalibrated it as a Quonset hut with open ends. And it would just be in the park, and you would hang out there.
Okay.
So, but that's a story of the city and a story of advertising what we're being told. So the trash is super similar because they're actually taking what's around them and creating a narrative, meaning a story.
And what we're consuming. So in terms of, you're talking about advertising and you're talking about what we're being fed that way. This exhibit showed what we were being fed internally, essentially. But
I'm really a couple of my major tenets are consumption. Oh God, I just lost my brain for a second.
Consumption and also feminine.
No. Wait, consumption and production. Thank you. So basically, you're seeing what they consumed and what they produced.
Yes, what they produce and what they consume because of the production, right? Is that what you mean?
Well, you're seeing the detritus, which is I'm always fascinated with, but which means the remnants, the remains, the entrails, whatever. But you're seeing like their chicken bones. I mean, they consume the chicken. You're seeing their chicken bones, their cigarette butts, their liquor bottles, their milk cartons, their whatever.
The grape soda, the candy wrappers, the sugar. I saw it all.
Lives all condensed together, and you get to make up your own narrative, and that's the best kind of art. Is where people make up their own narrative, like it leaves it open. You create an arena of meaning, and people can weave their own interpretations and stories.
Okay, so now I have a few more questions because everybody who watches, what do they say? What smells? What does that mean? People don't always understand the background to art, and I didn't. I had to learn one at a time. I had my friend teach me. I was like, "Can you just teach me about one artist at a time?" And one of my friends brought me to the gates in New York. Remember when they had the gates in Central Park? It was like the orange flags for people who didn't know, and I didn't know what it was. I was like, "How is this art?" And then she brought me, and we walked through it. And she's like, "Sue, feel how you feel while you're walking through it, because the experience of walking through it is also art." And I was like, "Oh, I had no idea." And then she taught me about Richard Serra, about the mazes. I had no idea. I was like, how is this art? And then when she had me walk through the small ones, she said, how do you feel? And I felt big. And then when I walked through the ones that were really tall, I felt very small. And I don't know if how you interpret it too? That's how she explained it to me. It made sense to me.
Well, I first want to start by saying that, I think the most successful work is the work that doesn't have to be explained beforehand. And I think if someone is in the right state of mind, they just approach whatever it is and experience whatever they experience. And if they want a more erudite or complex reading, they read the press release or have to tell them. But it's about multiple layers of experience. And it's kind of like being at a buffet. You can choose which layer of experience you want. But I think successful art has no elitist bottom line. Anybody could walk up and experience it on some level, whatever that is.
So the elitism even expresses itself through the art world, where it's like too complicated as opposed to something that's just direct, you're saying?
Well, I think that, it can be interpreted as elitism or enrichment, but I think that people who don't get it, see it as more, maybe elitism because they're feeling left out of the conversation.
Meaning I felt like I was left out.
I'm starting to draw now. What?
Yes, we see that. So you feel like I was left out of the conversation and I didn't understand, or?
No, I'm just saying if if some people would come in and go, oh, that's stupid, that's garbage. And that's really, only because they're not allowing themselves to just experience it on their own terms, But if you want to look for the critical art world meaning, that's another kind of conversation. You know, you could read up on that stuff and read whatever you want into it. Does that make sense?
Well, I got a little confused in the sense that even if somebody says that they think it's garbage, it's still their experience, no? I mean, that's like stand-up
Totally.
subversive,
Totally.
right?
That's true, and maybe that's a good experience. Some people want to elicit that kind of a reaction. That's a super strong reaction. So for some people, that would mean that it's successful.
Yeah, because that's what I just did the Patrice O'Neill documentary, and one of the things that they said about Patrice was that he only liked it if it was 50-50. If 50% of the audience liked him and 50% of the audience was repulsed by him.
I mean, then you're bringing in the conversation about provocation as being an aspect of art. Now, you as a comic should know very well about the tenets of provocation.
And having control over it. As a comic, we have control over it. Sometimes.
Hopefully.
Huh?
I mean, I don't know. I keep thinking about Lenny Bruce a lot these days.
What about him?
Well, he'd just never get away with it, for starters.
Right. And why is that? Because the cancel culture?
Yeah, but the other thing is that basically, I mean, that was needed then to raise consciousness, but that's not what's needed now.
What do you think's needed now? Because they always say that after a time like this, the art is going to blossom. What do you think is needed? Do you think that it's going to be?
I that's really a controversial thing. I think that whatever people need or want to talk about.
Oh, look at that! You just drew her, and she's on the screen. Look at that.
Whatever people need or want, I don't know. I mean, I just think there's a lot of reparation, a lot of dialogue, a lot of so many different directions that people are coming from. I mean, there's a lot.
All right, you just talked about reparations. I want to ask you about how you feel about the Whitney Museum. They did a Black Lives Matter exhibition, and they had bought the art from from auctions in the school. Yeah, they shouldn't have done that, right?
No, but here's the thing, and this really dovetails with some very incredibly current things, so I'm glad you asked. And that is that, I have been passionate about artist resale rights forever. An artist should be getting 10% minimum every time that art resells. The art world wants to argue that, their market prices go up as a result, but their market prices dive too. It's just irresponsible. And now there's this whole NFT game, and everyone's like, yeah, artists' royalties are baked into this contract and blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to spend the rest of the time talking about NFTs, which I could. But
what's NFTs? What is it?
It's a really current mode of acquiring things. Now, you need to know about this as a comic. Comics are doing it. Musicians are doing it. You could put this show on an NFT or a still from this interview on an NFT and ostensibly sell it. Because what it is a contract of sale. And you can put any information on a contract of sale, and it's baked, placed into the blockchain, so it's supposedly inextricable, but of course you have to get a rider and this and that. Nothing is ever what it seems 100%, but and so everyone is like going wild for this stuff, and the bottom line about it is that everyone gets 10% on every resale. It's amazing. So that's the problem with the Whitney, is that not only that, but like maybe economically underserved artists aren't getting a penny from them showing that work, and yet they're what's called virtue modeling,
Yes.
getting the benefit of that happening. So that, that's not a wonderful equation there.
No, I felt like it was a double insult, that they bought the money at the auction bought the art from the auction, which was undervalued, and then they tried to put up a show about Black Lives Matter while they weren't paying the black artists what they should be paying them.
Exactly.
I thought that right?
I mean, there's so many institutional disconnects. It's really sad. What can I tell you?
Yes, and that's what all my shows are about talking about what you're talking about, these NFTs. I love the idea. I never even thought of that, about the paintings. When they get resold, they go up in value, and the artist never gets that residuals. Like with a Broadway play, as long as it stays in the same form that it's in. So that's what a painting would be. That's what a piece of art would be. As long as it stays in the same form that it was originally, you always get money back. You always get paid royalties, always. It's funny. Is there an artist union?
There used to be. There really isn't. But I'm about to. I would say a possible member, or an incoming member, or about to be onboarded member of a new one that's being formed.
That's good.
Yeah.
Are they going to include these NFTs, or are they going to structure their own? Are they
No,
going to collectively bargain?
They think NFTs, and NFTs are a little bit like, a pyramid scheme. When I was talking to some of the people there, they were like, oh, that's just like bra boy white male culture. It kind of is. It comes out of gaming and sneakerheads, but it's really evolved.
That's funny that they say that, because I feel like if we don't learn from the white boy powerheads, we're not going to get anything if we don't learn how they do that. They have information. We need the information. Look at that. Look at how quick you can draw. Now, what are you going to do with those, Joe?
It's really a drag. I have to spray them with fixative, which is, I'm sorry to admit, really bad carbon footprint moment. And then I'm trying to find alternatives, though. I apologize, everybody. And then I just brought a bunch to my studio. I think what I want to do is try putting them on linen. What do I want to do with it? I want to sell it. People, hello.
Can you tell people where can they see you? Where can they go see your art?
You can see it at joeshanestudio.com, but it's really not updated. But also Instagram. @JoeShane1.
Okay, so now we're going to get talking about. I want to start talking about the feminism stuff. Your career, over your career. We're going to get to your questions towards the end, but I want to know what has framed your art. I know you've done a lot of stuff about plastic surgery. You've done a lot of
plastic surgery.
Haven't you? I remember you did an exhibit. I came to see it, whether it was downtown, but there was something about faces or something.
I wouldn't know. The only piece I had in that show was my archived breast milk.
Breast milk. Okay, breast milk. So that was. You saved your breast milk?
I saved it for, I don't know, can't remember when my son was born. Let me see. 93, and I didn't show it till maybe 2015, but I kept it in the freezer.
And then what did you do? Where did you show it? It was part of an exhibit. You just showed
you
your breast
saw it uptown.
I know, I'm trying to remember because I saw a bunch of them.
But it was downtown as well. I think you went to that one on White Street, the street below Canal.
When they were all in the stalls, yes.
And there's a lot of other women's art, right?
Yes.
Now, that brings up another topic. I mean, it's like actresses don't want to be called actresses, Well, artists don't want to be called women artists. They just want to be artists. Hello.
Yeah, that's what I feel like comics feel like. We don't want to be called women comics either. We just want to be called comics as well. And what is the reason for all that? What is it? Almost marginalized you by saying, oh, we're going to have a women's show. We're going to have a women's art, right?
Well, it also dovetails with this notion of expectation. Like, that women have to... my work is narrative. Some aspects, obviously, breast milk is a potently narrative conversation about what's anemic to what a woman can do. But what? But also, a lot of my work is about the human experience. I mean, yes, my human experience is colored by, and I know you love to talk about this, so, go off, baby, by my experience as a woman, obviously.
Right, but also we would know that it was a woman's thing with the breast milk. You wouldn't have to be in a woman's show to do that. Okay, we have questions. What kind of paint are you using? You're using charcoal. What kind of charcoal?
It's called Winsor & Newton Extra Soft Divine. It's the best.
It's the best. Now, isn't it supposed to be normal, like part of common sense? Isn't what supposed to be normal? Somebody wants to know, isn't it supposed to be normal, like part of common sense? What? What's supposed to be normal? I'm not sure what they mean. Simon wants to know, isn't it supposed to be normal, like part of common sense. So we'll have to ask him what he's thinking about that. So yeah, these women's shows we don't need them to be women's shows. They can just be shows. And if you're putting up breast milk, pretty much people are they would assume that it was a woman, but does it matter? What if a man put up breast milk? Why do we have to put those kind of labels on people?
Well, honey, that's more possible today than ever. Isn't that the next level of, pan gender, whatever?
Well, I did say that on a Twitter page the other day. I said, for now, women are the only ones who can have babies. I said, for now.
Yeah.
I think that science is going to keep going.
How much stuff has changed? It's definitely going to change. Come on.
Oh, yeah, because I think people are rebelling against the binary male-female thing. I think even the men are rebelling against it. I think people have had it with all that. And that's why all my work has become about finding this middle ground. Like, how do we evolve? How did we get to where we are? I want to know back, like, when was the most, like, feminist time in your career? Was it earlier on? Was it when you were younger? Do you feel like it is now?
I don't know what a feminist time even means. What do you mean?
Have you ever focused so much on expressing yourself because you felt frustrated because of men might have been getting more opportunity than you? Do you feel like that ever fed your art? Do you feel like that ever swayed you?
I mean, that's just a given, and that's not why I make work. I mean, my work is way beyond that level. I mean, that's just a given. Yeah, actually, I'm about to do a piece that's completely about that. And I'm sort of trying to do a post-studio thing, which means you don't spend money on anything. Just do digital renders and, you don't hope. I mean, I don't know how to strategize. You strategize for people to buy them or a gallery to show them or to get it funded. So it's a golden wheelchair. I mean, women artists, okay, 80% of art schools are filled with women. Maybe at the most 20%, 10 to 20% of success in the art world is women, all right? So they're funding the art school institutions and getting nothing out of it. And then, what? Oh, yeah. And then they're supposed to wait until they're like 80 years old in a wheelchair with a retrospective. So I'm going to do a golden wheelchair and a golden urn in a gallery, just those two props. And
that's interesting because Lindsay Boylan, the woman who just accused Cuomo of sexual harassment, she talked a lot about women caretakers and that the highest, because she's running for Manhattan Borough President, and she said that if you want to see poverty in Manhattan, you find a single older woman who was a caretaker for a family or something that didn't get paid for it. So you're saying the same thing essentially about the art world.
Well, no, because it's not about caretaking as much as being 80 years old by the time someone even pays attention to you.
No, I didn't mean that it was caretaking. I'm saying that that's the same idea in the sense that you wake up one day and you're like, oh my God, this is what it took for anybody to pay any attention to me.
Yeah, basically, So the title of the piece is Not Me. But what's horrifying is that I'm closer than I think. So it's not a good moment.
See, and then that's life reflecting art, not reflecting life. But what motivates you, Joe? What motivates you to get up every day and do all this? That's what I'm fascinated with. What drives people as artists. I know what motivates me, but what motivates you?
Honey, what else would I do?
You could do anything. You could get a guy and marry him and do nothing. You could go volunteer in Africa, huh?
No, but I do have political affiliations and I do feel torn. My time management is not fabulous.
Right. But something still motivates you like you're doing right now. Something's motivating you to draw that right now. You must have a compulsion.
I don't know. It's habituation at this point in my life. I mean, what else is there to, honestly, I can't even imagine.
But that's a good thing to do. But to be creating and drawing is better than something that's self-destructive.
Oh, I'm not saying it is a bad thing, I mean, it's what drives my entire life. And, I'm happiest when I'm preparing for a show. And I'm unhappiest when postpartum and nothing's going on as a result of the show, and I do want to say that, wanting to make income from your work equals agency, wanting to have agency. Ask anyone who doesn't have it. It's a major thing. People are like, oh, you should just be making your art to make your art. Oh, excuse me. Like everybody, and you know what? The more you're like embraced by the system, and this, the more possibilities you have to be able to go to the biggest possible end of your vision.
But I also feel like they try to box it and contain it. The higher you get, the higher you're more successful you get, the more they try to make it corporate. The more they try to monetize it. The more they try to siphon it.
You mean the be careful what you wish for story?
Well, yeah, and the money takes you funny thing.
Yeah, I guess, I know that's true, but I don't want to think about that, because I feel like I just want to get there and make it happen the way I want to make it happen. Like maybe I will, The world is changing rapidly. That's all I can
Rapidly. Okay, so this is what Simon said. Common sense to me is not identifying people based on their gender, security, orientation, cultural, and so forth. As an artist is an artist, no matter what gender, the cultural upbringing and so forth. Yeah, that's ideal. That would be ideal that you could just be an artist and speak. I mean, humor doesn't have a gender. Being funny doesn't have a gender.
And
if you're funny, you're funny.
Yeah, and yet women comics are pigeonholed within certain contexts the same way women artists are, the same way artists of color are, the same way non-binary artists are. There's always an expectation for us to make work about identity, and that's a whole other kind of prototyping and boxing in and lack of not allowing for full form of expression.
Oh yeah, Art likes your I put up your website, joeshanestudio.com. I'll put it up on there for you guys to see. Yeah, that is true. And I always talk about the movie posters. When there's a woman and a man who are starring in a movie, the man's whole body is in it and only parts of the woman is. Only her upper body. So they're always doing that. They're always trying to box women, cage us, put us in a box, make sure that we're only going to talk about. They put us all the women on the same show. It's a female show, and even when they do the female shows, we still kill.
I don't know. We can just do what we do, be aware, and keep changing the conversation. And it's all about drawing back the curtain. That's that's the bottom line. Keep drawing back the curtain. That's what we're here to do.
So that's your motivation, is to draw back the curtain continually, right?
Yeah, I would say so. I have a lot to say. Let's put it that way.
I know you do, and I'm trying to get it out of you because I love it.
Well, you're doing a pretty good job.
I want to know what your favorite...
Is my information loud? I don't want to be too loud.
No, you're not loud. I want to know when the favorite moment of you creating something and getting the feedback at the same time, because that would be ideally what who did you say? I'm sorry, I forget the artist that you said in the beginning.
Duchamp.
How Duchamp said you need somebody to see your art. So ideally, our idea is to be able to express ourselves fully and have people receive us the way we're expressing ourselves. Because I talk a lot about this on Sue TV. Everybody doesn't hear you what you're saying. Communication is very hard. So do you remember like the nirvana of actually creating something and getting the exact feedback of what you were expressing?
I think any feedback is good. I don't know. I don't have it. That's the problem. I mean, I wish I could say I did, but I really don't. It's a yet. But then I don't know. Maybe that's my problem. Maybe I'm just stuck, toxically addicted to negativity around this. I got to let go of that stuff.
That's very interesting, because I feel like I talk to a lot of my friends about that, about not being able to hold good feelings. Right? So, and I remember a therapist that said that to me one time. She said, Sue, I bet you people have been nice to you your whole life and you haven't seen it. And that was one of the most brutal things for me to see.
Right.
Because it is hard to hold good feelings and just hold it. Because also the society we live in, I always find if you do something good, like say you had a show tonight and you were being interviewed, the first thing they would say to you is, what's next?
Yeah.
So it's impossible to even enjoy a moment. Or if you go on a date with somebody, they're like, when are you going to see them again? You're like, I'm just enjoying what I just did. Can you relax for 1 second?
Yeah. I think the negativity thing is part of, a larger disease that we both know about in our culture. Yeah.
Addicted to the intensity of a bad feeling. But I also think addiction can manifest in so many ways. I think we're addicted to fighting and to being lied to right now. Okay, hold on. Art wants to know, how would you recommend that the emerging artists promote their visual work online via Instagram to draw customers or attention in the most efficient way?
I don't know. You tell me, because I haven't figured that shit out, baby.
Is there something to following other artists and all and getting on that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, people will tell you community, community, community. I mean, I'm learning this. I really have a stunning inability to comprehend the obvious in front of my face. So basically, I I what? Never got it. I just don't get it. But what I'm learning from going in this on this clubhouse thing and everything, and hearing about new art communities, which are which are what? Which are I'm feeling very Picasso tonight, people. What do you think?
Let's see. I love it. Oh my God, I have to tell you about a video I saw of Picasso in LA at the
Anyways,
Mocha. I have to tell you about the video.
I don't want to keep this poor person dangling. So, and they
Okay.
keep saying you can't just come into this community and try and expect to make money, throw down, this new NFT thing and expect to make money. You've got to be part of the community, reach out to people, buy their art, they buy your art. It's a whole other ethos. So, that's what you could say about any of it. Like, it's really like, any artist will tell you time and again. And I haven't been great at that. Community, community, community,
Well, that speaks to what you just said about Duchamp. Like, that's interesting because I've been talking a lot about that on my show, that we need people, even if it's we don't need people to reflect like narcissism. We need people to we need to engage with people so we can figure out who we are. You can't do it alone. You can't do it in isolation. That has been proven over this whole pandemic. You need people.
This clubhouse thing is so major. Everyone's so into it. Does anybody out there know what that is? Even?
No, you just invited me on it. So it's just audio, right? Is that what it is?
Yeah. And it kind of makes this obsolete. Do you want to know why?
I love it because I feel like taking the visual off of everything. So Instagram is very much about filters and all that shit, right? And I've always said that that's going to go away. So the audio is like old school radio, if you really think about it, right?
Voice, and it's about community and interaction and discussion, and it's so great. It's so refreshing. I mean, I'm sure things are going to go bad at some point, but
that speaks to culturally what's happening. People are getting sick of the superficial. They can't do it anymore.
Exactly.
It's not working anymore. People are like, you sold us a bill of goods and it's not working, which is a lot of your art, which is the advertising that tells you what we're supposed to be. And you're like, this is bullshit. This isn't working. We all did everything you told us to do, and now we're all locked in our houses, and there's a health crisis and a financial crisis, and we're like, go fuck yourself. But wait a minute, I want to tell you about Picasso. So I was at Mocha, and I saw Picasso was in his underwear, and he was painting a bird. And it was right when film had been, film was actual film. You had feet of film. And the director was screaming at him, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, because the film was running out. And I never laughed so hard. I was like, even Picasso has people yelling at him to hurry up. He only had like a foot of film or like 2 feet of film. And Picasso was in his underwear painting really fast. And I'm like, oh, because the idea, the dream is that we're all artists and we get as much time as we want to be able to create so it's perfect. And that never really happens. I know from doing shows, right?
Okay, so there's this whole movement going on with this NFT thing. And for people who don't know, an NFT, you will know what it is, believe me. It's all tied into cryptocurrency. And there's the cryptocurrency of the creative class is called Ethereum. And that's where you buy and sell this new digital art. And musicians are reaping, like Grimes made $5 million off of dropping an album. I mean, it's really complex to wrap your head around. And that's why everyone's talking about this stuff in Clubhouse and trying to give instructions for all a community. And it's almost like art evangelism. All of a sudden there's this thing, the artist and the new creative class, and it's crazy.
Okay, so this is what I've been talking about, Joe. So are there agents involved in any of this?
No, that's the whole point. You're your own freaking agent, baby.
That's what's going on everywhere. That's what Kanye's talking about. That's what Taylor Swift is talking about. That's what Chappelle just did with them taking down his show. They're all trying to backpedal. You can't sign a contract and then try it. That's Judas. But what's happening is at least they're tipping it off. At least they're talking about Taylor Swift re-recorded her own songs after Scooter resold them which speaks to you talking about reselling the art without getting the 10%.
Right.
So Art wants to know if there are any writers or critics in the art world that you admire.
Ooh, that's a tough one. You know, people keep talking about critics, and I'm like, is criticality even relevant anymore? You know, it's like, oh, are there critics in the, what do they call it? They call it the, now I don't remember, the, the cryptosphere, well, whatever. I can't remember the word. But, I have to say, I really, well, I feel like the artists are the critics. Like, I would say I really love, damn, I'm having a moment here. I'm so sorry. Now I can't remember his name. It'll come to me.
Okay.
There's a conceptual artist that I really think is genius, but I'm not really wild about any of the critics, to be honest.
I'm not wild about critics either. Are there
down
any writer
that
critics
whole
Art that you don't admire? That you don't admire? Somebody just asked Art a question.
I tell you about this young writer who I think is amazing and hysterical. And I can't even remember the name of the publication she's writing for. It's really sad. There's this guy, Dean Kissick, is genius. He writes for the same publication.
And is it an art publication? Is it an art publication or is
It's a
it
cultural publication. I just can't remember the name of it all offhand. I'm so sorry. But Dean Kissick, and then there's this woman who's unbelievable. She followed me, and then I checked her stuff out, and I was like, whoa, this is amazing. It's it's an ironic sociological perspective, which is really what I have at the end of the day. An ironic sociological perspective. That's what interests me the most.
so things are ironic sociologically? Meaning,
My experience is in there, but sometimes there's irony.
and irony is funny, right? That's funny, right?
Yeah, I think irony connotes humor for sure. It better.
It also kind of connotes like meta.
Ooh, how do you?
Well, because meta is happening at the same time. So irony is like, isn't that ironic? It's the same thing. It's like I feel like it's what do you call it? Quantum physics. Different realms, and I feel like that happens in the art world too. But all these people, these agents, these people that come in and try to cage it. Oh, look, let's see, hold it up again.
So what's abstracting?
That's what?
It's a close up kind of.
That's her bum, right?
Yeah.
And then what's on her arm? What's the pink thing on the arm?
Oh, she's got a rose, and then she's got frilly garters.
See, that's what I asked you earlier. It's so fascinating when you have a conversation with somebody. Did I say to you that how much does it get separated from the actual thing to what you draw?
Yeah, but she's actually posing that close of a shot. She's kind of genius.
And where is she?
She's in her studio. It's set up. It's crazy. I mean, I'm not allowed to really show it, but she's got art up. She's got a couch. She's got strawberries. She's wearing Louis Vuitton's heels. She's got these frilly arm things. She's got the neck thing. She's got ribbons in the hair and the wig. It's amazing.
And are there other people drawing?
Yeah, well? It's like Zoom. There's other people drawing.
That's amazing. So look at what's happened in terms of us it probably is enhancing you wouldn't normally go to a class right now, right? But then you're doing it now, right?
Well, I didn't draw. I taught for 25 years, foundation drawing, and I never drew. And then now I'm using my own lessons. But, which is a beautiful thing, we might add.
Well, look at that. Downside of Clubhouse is racial tension, whites being kicked out.
What?
You said that. You just said, who knows, it'll probably blow up eventually. And Art comes at us with the YouTube video of the whites being kicked out of the Clubhouse.
Oh, no. I don't understand what you're saying.
Art Levine, he's a journalist, just came on and said that there's a downside to Clubhouse is racial tension. Really? Yeah. You said it'll probably explode. And then Art comes in with the facts. There's
a lot of what's it called? What's that number again? Like, not disarm. Something whiteness. I'm losing it now. I think trying to do two things at once is taking off on me.
Disarm might be the word you're looking for.
What?
Disarm might be the right word you're looking for. You mean take away the
word? Just something white.
Dissolve?
No, but anyway, it's definitely, there are some strong voices. you know, any conversation you get in today will focus on these issues. You cannot avoid it, all right? And you really pick and choose what rooms you're in. I really, what he's talking about though, which very few people know, and I know because I know people who are involved with the first people that started it. Clubhouse was started by BIPOC, you know, people of color for each other. And they didn't really let anyone in until they had the community sewn up. Now, there are a lot of power rooms with major players who will tell you about business and money and, you know, help you make all the connections you need to make. And it's kind of amazing that way. So it's about different communities really empowering themselves organically. I mean, this is the future, honey. So
I find it interesting. I wonder how much more, so the idea of the keyboard warriors, like people who are not afraid to write things beyond the keyboard. I wonder if it's different. Like, so you talk about the irony and the sociology behind your art. I'm interested in the human sociology about how much people are more willing. First of all, they get more access than they would have gotten. People don't get access to these people any other way, right? To this information. They don't, regular people can't listen to business things anywhere else except for on this forum, right?
what do you mean? I guess. I mean,
anybody who's on Clubhouse can go listen to like famous people talk about business if they.
Yeah,
if they,
it's kind of amazing. Like the era of information sharing and generosity and everybody creating, you know, communities that empower each other. I mean, come on.
Right? But that's speaking to getting rid of all these parasites that have capitalized and commodified the art world and the talent world. Hold on, let's see. How do you feel about food as art?
How do I feel about what?
Food as art.
Fabulous.
You do? You love it?
Yeah, it's all really good.
There was a takeover of blacks against whites in a Clubhouse room with some noted intellectuals there. That's interesting. I find that interesting.
When did this happen? Get me the tea, please.
Art, tell us how it happened. Art knows all the tea. Art finds everything. He has everything to back it up. He's brilliant. But even that's important. I feel like it's all important to be happening right now because we're changing at such a rapid level. And like you said, the information. I'm still here.
Yeah, now you're back. I have
okay, good.
The internet. Thank you, Spectrum, just so you hear people. All
right, good. Now I want to get to some of the questions that I have for you. Can
we
go to those?
I didn't get the tea. When did this happen and what kind
He'll give it to you. He's probably finding it. Okay. So when in your career do you first remember a man getting preferential treatment because of his gender?
Wait, what?
And I got to find which one's your question.
We got a beautiful drawing here.
You just did that. How fast?
Look at that angelic face. Do you see that angelic face?
Yes. Why don't you just put these up for sale now and have people buy them?
All right. All right. Sounds good to me.
How do they do it? They message Joe on Instagram. I want to do this more often. I want to have artists do this more often in a respectable way. I don't want people to feel like they have to. But I guess Picasso had a rush too. So I wanted to start getting the motion in motion. I feel like, and I was going to ask you that, like people who don't have a lot of money who want to have art, like how do they get access to something and how would they choose it?
Well, I'm fine that something. What's that something? That's a confusing question.
Well, there are regular people in the world that want to have art, but they don't know how to choose it. They don't know what to hang on their walls, but they want to have access to it. But it seems like it's only the elite that knows all about the art and gets a handle on it all.
Again, go with your heart, go with your brain, go with your visceral response. Like, don't listen to that bullshit. Go look at stuff and see what you like. I mean, the best collectors of really hard minimalist kind of work in, like, I don't know, when was it, the 70s or 80s, was this Dorothy and Herb Vogel. He used his life savings as a postman or something.
Oh, I saw that documentary. That was amazing. They started collecting the art and then they left it all when they died. They donated it all.
I guess, but they kept it under the bed. I mean, it was passion. They weren't like looking for, you know, they just saw it and they responded to it, and you know, whatever their understanding was fine.
All right, so these people he was a postman, and in their little apartment they had all the art, so much valuable art stacked up to the ceiling. It was amazing to watch. Hold on. You remind me of a cell, my dresser, on which Elton John composed a song on the spot from Bernard. Total phonetics, I think that's the wrong spelling, and began recording. So you're reminding him of Elton John. Typo. In previous note, she is the fastest drawer as Elton John, recording a song instantly and writing it. Look at that, Joe. See, this is something that I think you should do. Like you could do. You could get yourself out there and get access to people that don't normally have access to
Hey, this is
art.
the art QVC moment here. We just started something big, baby.
I love it. I love it. We're watching you in action draw, and everybody's being a part of it. They're asking you questions. It's totally interactive. I love it. I want to ask you.
We just made history, boo. Let's start selling that work. Come on, people. DM me.
Right. I think we should. I think we should make this bigger and bigger and bigger. And I should have artists on, and we should be able to have people make it, price worthy enough for you to make what you need to make, but also make it accessible enough for people to afford it. I love it. Joe, I love it. Why? This makes complete sense. And then you could number them, and they could be prints. I mean, I have a bunch of prints. As soon as I had to learn.
Well, I did that with the smaller ones, but yeah, I take photographs of them, and then I have to read. It's a whole thing, but yeah. And actually, it turns out that you can make giclée prints, which is super fancy, and they're really cheap. So there's so many different ways around it. Now I'm working small because it's a longer pose. Oh, I thought it was. In the longer poses, I do a big one and a small one. The small ones are really cute, but I'm so busy talking, it's hard to get it done.
See, that's cool, and then you could sell those.
These drawings are kind of a breakthrough. I mean, I just started being this. I mean, I have different styles all the time. I'm starting to do my.
But it also helped you because you said doing the interview, being that exposed interview, like you could have something else to be doing at the same time. I love it. You suggested it. I'm like, whatever everybody wants. But I want to get to.
I also have a jewelry line called Aspirational Jewelry. You can say what you want. I say a lot of funny, ironic things about life, the art world, sexuality, two-sided tags. I also have nameplate necklaces with "You Choose Your Charm." It's at Aspirational Jewelry, or it's too complicated to give you the email, but anyways, the website. But
they can all message you on your Instagram if they need to talk. If they want to talk to you, right?
I'm telling you this because that started as a performance piece at an installation in a group show. I just hate being at openings. It's the same thing. I don't really want to do an interview. Now I'm relaxed.
Right. That's usually what happens.
Talking to you, forget about it.
Say it again.
So I set up, and you would have like a consult with me, and I'd say, well, I think you're this. Like I started with pre-existing nameplate necklaces from fast fashion. So there was influencer, which is ironic, obviously. Who's going to wear that? Seriously. There was selfish, which was also ironic. But I'm also taking it like the wheat paste. They're telling us what we're supposed to think. And I'm going, let's think otherwise.
What is the wheat paste supposed to say?
It's all the advertisements you see every day.
Oh, okay.
And then I take them down, and then I want to do an installation, anybody listening, with all of them in a Quonset hut or a gallery space or whatever. And then TVs will be there to Netflix, and people can just watch them and chill.
Right. So then we get the idea. Same idea as what I said about the tape. Like you'll put it on the wall, and then it'll be all together, and we'll actually see what you'll organize it in a way that we'll be like, oh my God, look what we're consuming every day. All right, let's get to this question. When in your career do you first remember a man getting preferential treatment because of his gender? And you wrote, always, NC, yeah. Always too enmeshed. You were always too enmeshed in your internal dialogue to notice things as they pertain to you. But you were bullied in 6th grade and junior high in a campaign that started by a jealous girl and carried out by boys. I don't think they ever got in trouble for throwing food at me in the cafeteria, but I probably didn't report it. It's a bigger conversation, internalizing pain and not realizing you have. Yes, because that's what blocks people. Trauma blocks people. Right? You internalize it, and then it blocks you as you get older and as you go through experiences. You don't stand up for yourself in a different time in life because you've internalized it. So you internalized it like something was wrong with you.
Yeah, or just like, oh, this is standard. And to this day, I mean, I've been canceled downtown by certain people, and it's the same thing all over again. It's like, oh my God, this is high school still. And yeah, a lot of them are younger, and I'm not going to go into the reasons why, but I mean, they're really young. So my bad. But it seems to be a repetitive thing and something that I, accept. I don't know, like you asked about noticing how men are treated, I don't know, whatever. I'm an only child. I didn't have a brother. I don't have siblings. So I don't know. I never really got an acute sense of that on a personal, like really close to me level. So I can't really say, but I can say that you start being treated in certain ways and you're just like used to it. And they're
Yeah, you
not
get numb
okay.
to it.
And they're not okay.
Okay, so what about, how do you feel about your mother, and do you think you have more advantages than she did?
I mean, I don't know. I really don't know what you mean by advantages, I mean, I guess to make choices. I mean, how do I feel? I wish that she'd done more with her life, but she's happy with it, So, not everyone is driven by, creative passions. What can I say? But I think part of this conversation is I mean, people, someone will chime in and go, well, it's an economic, that's creativity is just for rich people, and economically other people can't do that, and it's a luxury and privilege and blah, blah, blah. I mean, some of this is true, probably a great deal of it, but again, this new NFT thing is all about everyone getting in on it, whatever it is you want to do, whether you want to write poems, whether you do music, whether you do visual art, whether, it's about like, get creative, like, okay, and then you can make money off of this stuff. Is it real? I mean, I hope so. Who knows? This is like major Kool-Aid moment here.
But probably so is everything else. So is Twitter, so is Patreon, so is everything. I mean,
yeah, I hate Patreon, BT dubs.
why?
Because I don't want to be locked into paying something every month. I don't want to be locked into any
They're trying to do that on Twitter. They're trying to do it now. They're copying it on Twitter. Are you the one that wrote, how do you feel about marriage? Don't do it.
About what?
Did you write don't do it about marriage?
Yeah.
You're hilarious. In capital letters, she wrote don't do it. Has a man ever gotten paid more than you that you know of for the same job? You said you have no insider info, so you don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm sure, I can guarantee you, they definitely make more for art. They make more for everything. I mean, that's a rhetorical question, honey.
All right. Be nice.
Just saying.
Be nice. What woman inspired you the most in your life, and why? Nora Ephron?
Oh, were you reading it, or am I?
Yeah. I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at it. You said Nora Ephron, right?
No.
No. I read the wrong question then, the wrong answer.
Nora Ephron isn't even on there.
No, it was someone else's. All the answers from all the guests are on here. I read the wrong one. I think women are getting more. Your grandmother. It's a combo. You'll have to ask. All right, why your grandmother?
Because she was like brilliant. She was actually, her family was a big lumber family in the Boston area.
Mm-hmm.
Glenn, did you ever hear Grossman's Lumber?
I haven't, but I'm sure people in Boston have. I haven't been in Boston for a while, so I might
well,
not have
from
heard
when
of
you
it.
were growing up, but you're younger, so whatever. Anyways, she lost her husband in her, I don't know, very young, and she had 3 daughters, and she wanted to work for the family business. Here's a cutie little one.
Oh, that's great.
And I know, I can't believe I haven't been doing little ones. So her family was like, yeah, you can come in and be what was known then as a secretary. And she was, screw that. And she started a clothing business called Starr. And it was amazing. It was like Barney's, but like, in the 50s. Like, you had the hair salon, you had the wishing well, you had like the fashion shows and the little sort of bridge over water with the wishing pond, and like a tailor, and everything was under one roof, and it was this huge, it was in Quincy where you are now. It was kind of like built in this huge warehouse space, and it was like this magical land. It was crazy. So, I guess her creativity and economic ingenuity were like pretty amazing, and she was like a very unconventional stylish and
A lot of the women that I've interviewed on this have grandmothers that were like that. I wonder if a generation afterwards, if it got worse for the generation in between, for our mothers.
Yeah,
I wonder.
my mother, nothing, you know.
I know. I wonder if it did, because there's so many people that talk about their grandmothers being badasses, and then all of a sudden, somewhere along the line, it stopped. That's what's interesting about comedy too. I mean, women, Carol Burnett, Lucille Ball, Rhoda, all of them, they were hilarious, and then all of a sudden, women not funny. I'm like, they were carrying all the networks. How did they all of a sudden become not funny?
Yeah, name me one woman comic who carries her own show.
I had my own show. I was one of the youngest women to ever do that.
All right.
We did during that. We did then back then. Grace Under Fire was on. Roseanne was on. Ellen, but there weren't a lot.
All right, Ellen. But Ellen's not a comic. She's a talk show host.
But she had her own sitcom back in the day.
But what about now? I'm talking about.
That's what I'm saying. They all of a sudden somehow got rid of women, and I don't know how it happened.
Why? Why do you think?
Because it's very powerful for a woman to be funny and smart, and they don't want women to be in charge because they don't want us to have the money.
Okay, bottom line there, boo.
They don't. It's always about the money. They don't want us to have the money.
But
if we have the money, we
why
won't be able to be pushed around as much.
They don't want. Why don't they want us to have the money?
Because we won't be able to be pushed around as much anymore. And think about it, talk to any guy and ask him if he wants to have a fight with his girlfriend or his wife. They never win.
If he wants to have a what?
A fight with his girlfriend or his wife. They don't like to fight with them because they never win. Because we don't. They say we don't forget anything. It's no, we don't miss a trick. So they've only had this ability to intimidate and financially and sexually hurt us to keep us down. And now that's getting off the table. So now that has to become more balanced. And it's all out of fear. They're afraid. I don't know what they're so afraid. They're afraid of us because we're strong. But we never knew how strong we were. So we were all in this little dance. And now the dance is broken. It's not working anymore. It's not even working for the guys. The guys are sick of it too.
Yeah. Really, it's not working for them either?
No. They're all falling. Because they only have one move and they can't adjust. Even Cuomo's doubling down now.
I mean, do you remember when he first, appeared and everyone was like, oh, Cuomo for president.
Yeah.
He's the man. And now look, it's just so bizarre. The trajectory of exposure, shall we say.
Yeah, and how they attack them. And that's what I talked about on Sue TV today. That what does it say about us as a culture, too, that we do that? Oh, my gosh, that's amazing. All right, we're going to wrap it up soon because we're almost up to an hour and I don't want it to disappear. Joe Shane.
Bids yet? People, are you bidding? Joe Shane at Joe Shane 1.
They got to come to your Instagram, right? They'll come in. They'll message you. They'll have questions for you.
You can put it up too on yours, like my afterwards take a still. Oh, I can take a still now, but I'm gonna lose my take a still and just put that up.
Of us?
Yeah. What?
Of us?
Yeah.
How am I gonna do it without hurting my phone? Come on now. I can do it from the camera. I can put it on when it's running.
Right.
But wait a minute, we have one more question for you. Is visual arts most subjective and faddish if in the arts? Does that make it harder to succeed? It's a typo art. I can't understand it. Is visual arts most subjective and faddish if I don't know what he's asking. He wants to know if it's hard to succeed.
If visual art is more subjective and faddish, does that make it harder to what? Harder to what?
To succeed.
To succeed. Yeah, it's so arbitrary. It's so much about connections. It's so much about who decides. You know, everybody on the Upper East Side with money wants the same Marilyn Minter in their bedroom. You know, it's just like it's like the Airman's bag. You know, it's not about the work itself. It's just like, oh, are you the brand? And this is the world we live in today. It's no different from anything else. Right?
But it sounds like it's changing. It sounds like with Clubhouse, with these NFTs, this is all stuff that is threatening them all. Same thing that happened with GameStop. They went after they're scaring them all because people have more access now because of the internet to make decisions around the gatekeepers, which I'm all for. I'm all for making decisions and owning your art and making the money that you deserve and letting people have more access.
We can only hope.
Yeah. Oh, I have more than hope. I'm
We
doing
can
it.
also
I'm
be
doing
part
it.
of the
Huh?
revolution, you know, I
Yeah.
mean, not just hope, but be part of it and then hope that, yes, it's real. But,
But
you
it
know,
is real.
we all have to work really hard to make it be real.
Well, people are starting to wake up to it. They're starting to see. They're really starting to get. And it takes a lot of pain for people to change. It just does.
Unfortunately, true, you
Yeah.
know. You know, you asked me one other thing, and I think I said the more things change, the more they remain the same, which is negative and ironic. But I think, you know, I see younger people getting married younger and stuff
Yeah.
after this pandemic stuff. It's crazy. Like, I think people, you know, are more, when stuff goes down, people get more traditional. They get really nervous about stuff.
Yeah,
But
they clamp down.
also,
But that might be good too, to go back to simplicity. That might be good. It might be just a natural stretch. We went too far with the internet, and now people might pull back in a little bit more.
yeah, I mean, you know, I
Oh,
think,
they want to know how much your drawing would be. Somebody wants to know how much your drawing would be.
oh, shoot. Small or big?
Small or big? She's buying time, people. She's buying time.
I didn't do that many small ones.
They haven't responded yet.
All right.
Small or big? Well, you can message Joe, and she can tell you in private if she feels more comfortable doing that. Oh, there you go. Small. They want to know how much a small
A
one would be.
small? I don't know. I'll give you a small for 125. How about that?
Well, message Joe.
But I'm negotiable too, and I can do prints for $30. How about that one?
There you go. Prints for $30, you guys. See, I love this. I want to make it accessible for people who aren't completely aware of art or know what to put in their homes, or nobody gives
Let me
anybody
tell
this
you,
access.
prints are damn good. I work really hard on them.
All right, good. All right, so we're going to wrap it up. That was Women
Oh,
Crush
wait, I just
Wednesday.
want to show your people another small
Oh,
one.
show it to us. Look at that one. That one somebody should buy. That's great, Joe. That's amazing. This was awesome. I'd love to do this. I'd love to host a night of this. That's too expensive. I'm sorry. What's a print? There you go. Message Joe. She'll talk. She'll handle it with you.
A print is just a really good scan of the same thing for very little money.
Yeah. A print. I have lots of prints. And they number them sometimes too because they only make a certain amount. It's cool.
That's true. See,
right?
You know what you're talking about.
I know what I'm talking about. And I thought that quote was from de Koon. Is that if everything stays the same? De Kooning. If everything stays the same, nothing changes unless it stays the same. Is that de Kooning? I have a T-shirt that says it's de Kooning. I don't want to be wearing no bullshit. Huh?
Not me on that one.
I think it is. See, I know my art. All right,
I'll
thank
be
you.
back next time there's an amazing pose or whatever.
Yeah, I love it. This was fun. Thank you very much.
Love you all
I'll talk to you soon.
for being here. Love you, Sue. This was genius. Peace out.
Peace out.
Viva la revolucion.
That's right. The revolution will be televised on Sue TV. Bye, everybody.
Ciao.